I am sitting on one of the most valuable pieces of dirt ever known to man.
They say that history can sometimes be fleeting. This is why we tell stories to our kids, write down things into books, and for the sake of this episode, make films that better explain what is what. I am here today to tell a story about a place that at one point in history carried incredible significance. One could say it was the center of the world in the late 1800s. Many presidents frequented this town. Celebrities traveled from far and wide to lay their eyes on this place. New inventions were conceived here, and one of the most important wars in American history was won because what was going on this small hillside at the base of a mountain. Welcome to Virginia City. But first, a little history lesson. In 1859, Virginia City burst to life. It all started with the discovery of the Comstock Lode, a massive deposit of silver and gold hidden beneath Nevada's rugged hills.
Did you know that the silver ore vein here underground was a half-mile wide by a whopping 7 miles long?
Prospectors, dreamers, and fortune seekers flooded the area, hoping to strike it rich. Tents turned into bustling streets, wood shacks became grand saloons, hotels and theaters popped up all over town. The sounds of drills and hammers and explosions filled the air. This was no ordinary boom. It was the richest strike in the West.
Here's the craziest fact of all. More money in terms of value dollar point was pulled out of the mines here than all of the California gold rush combined. 12 to 15 billion dollars in terms of today's dollars. California gold rush only estimated at like 2 billion. So we're talking like mucho plata.
If you look to our left, our dirt is right here. If you look to our right, our dirt is right here. And when you drove in or walked in the driveway, all this dirt out here is what they dug out of the collarbine. Yeah. Thank me once you get back there. You'll say, I'm glad you gave that to me. Thank you. I bet.
Doesn't fit on my head.
He'll fix it for you.
Okay. Where's the thingy?
You'll thank me. You'll thank me.
I don't know why it's good enough.
This was an actual mine in 1861. This is the last mine here on the Comstock you were able to go into from 1861. All the rest of them are collapsed and gone. Now, at the beginning, there was a man by the name of Billy Collar that owned this mine. Billy only owned it for 3 years. He went broke, ran out of money. He said, well, I guess I'll go to the bank and borrow some money. So Billy went in, he goes, hey, I'm Billy Collar, I need money for my mine. And they said, sure, Billy, we'll loan you money. Just sign up a contract. So he did, gave him the money. Come time to pay the money back, Billy was broke. Didn't have a dime to his name. And the bank said, gee, Billy, we're sorry. We own the mine now. So the Bank of California operated the Collar mine for another 17 years. This mine produced $17.8 million in gold and silver in its time. It was the 5th leading gold and silver producing mine here on the Comstock. There were over 100 mines operating up here on the Comstock during that time. The number 5 in line did pretty good for itself. Virginia City was a 24-hour-a-day mining town for 20 years. Mining never stopped. You had bells going off, you had steam whistles going off, you had underground explosions going off all hours of the day and night. It never quit. The best way to get a good night's sleep here in Virginia City back then was get drunk and pass out.
guys get earthquakes in Virginia City? Oh, I love it. It's getting tighter. Brown.
Brown, purple, and yellow. You see the line right there?
Yeah.
That's the vein. The brown is your waste. This is what they dug out and dug and put in front of their mines. Over here is purple and yellow. Your purple is the silver. The yellow is indications of gold.
So once I left the collar mine, I asked myself, what in the world do they do with all of this rock when they pull it out of these underground caves? How do you turn it into silver? And that's when I met Outlaw Dave. Now, Outlaw Dave runs the Comstock Gold Mill. Now, what the hell is a gold mill, you might ask? A mill has a thing called a stamp, and a stamp is essentially a giant hammer that crushed the rock into a fine talcum powder. Now, once the rock is turned into powder, it is spread across a copper table and mixed with the toxic heavy metal mercury. The mercury sticks to the gold and silver, and boom, you have the silver and gold ready to be turned into bars or coin. They would make just bars here that were a combination of gold and silver mixed together.
You know, put them on a Wells Fargo stagecoach and send them down to Carson City or over to San Francisco.
Do you think there were any highway robberies of that material?
Oh yeah.
They said you shouldn't even walk through the streets of Virginia City at night without getting robbed.
Yeah.
Thanks, Outlaw Dave, for showing me another incredible piece of history. Virginia City is a town forged in silver and steeped in legends. Every corner holds an incredible story. Mark Twain sharpened his wit here as a young reporter, while barons like George Hearst built empires from its wealth. The Virginia and Truckee Railroad, the queen of the short lines, carried both ore and icons, including President Grant, Hayes, Roosevelt, and Hoover. Thomas Edison tested his theories on electrifying homes here, and Alexander Graham Bell's telephone connected this booming town to the world just after the telephone was patented. A city where fortunes were made, dreams came alive, and the echoes of history still rumble like a train on the tracks. Hey, I'm Alex.
Neil.
Nice to meet you, Neil.
Great to meet you, Alex.
And where are we?
We are at the New Brunswick in Virginia City, Nevada.
What is the New Brunswick?
The New Brunswick is a mine that was opened in the late 1870s. It was opened for a short time, closed, and then reopened in 1920.
And how did we get here?
We took our UTV here. We took the Virginia City Off-Road Experience.
You can have whatever you like. You can have whatever you like. When the beat goes off, we bang to the.
Well, I will always opt to get off the main road and hit some dirt to find a few little hidden gems, especially with my boy Neil. He took us to a couple of abandoned mines and shafts that were over 2,000 feet deep. The blood, sweat, and tears that the miners put in here to get the silver out of the ground is blowing my mind.
Best in Belcher, Virginia Consolidated, Savage, California, Mexican, Gould and Curry, Collar. That's just to name a few of the famous mines that sit underneath the ground right here in town.
There was a mine behind the bank because mine was here first. In the year 1978, my boss and his buddies, they got drunk and they decided to dig down right here, blast through that wall, dismantle that vault, move that vault, remantle that vault along with more digging to connect the mine to the bar. My boss is Gregory Hess, and he's a descendant of the Comstock miners. He is 5th generation. He ends up with the deed to the mine from his father-in-law, who's also a descendant of the miners, to continue the silver mining. And at first they thought they had something, they really did. But they didn't, so now we have mine tours. Feel this freaking mountain. Mountain's extremely soft, it feels like clay, that's brittle. That's why all this timber be needed. The mountain was easy to work with back in the day, but hard to maintain until the square set timbering came along in the late 1860s. Square set timbering is a system that uses railroad ties as supports for underground mining tunnels and shafts. They would use no nails at all, and the railroad ties would be pre-cut and connect together almost like Lincoln logs. You remember Lincoln logs, right?
Of course I do.
From them forming cubes, they're able to open up three-dimensional cavities of any size. They basically created underground structures of beehives. The beehive, toughest structure in nature. Why? Because a hexagon be a bestagon. Mark Twain had 2 sayings about Virginia City. One was, in Virginia City, whiskey be for drinking and water be for fighting. And Virginia City doesn't have a town drunk, has a drunk town.
Would you call it a drunk town today? I mean, it's got a lot of saloons still.
Yeah, every day, yeah.
Hey, Spencer, thanks so much. I appreciate it, you taking me around. Here's the most important fact of them all. During the Civil War, Virginia City's silver funded the Civil War effort. This wealth was so essential that Nevada was fast-tracked to statehood in 1864, earning the nickname the Battle-Born State.
When I wake up every single morning, there's one thing that I grab. My Crest toothpaste. Now, Crest gives me that delicious, fresh-tasting, minty, just uppity kind of feeling in the morning. And it's really good. It gives me the best breath, too, because when I'm out there talking to people about all their incredible stories for Let's Go West, I want to make sure that my breath smells great. So, Crest, I would just love to say thank you for being there for me every morning. I really appreciate it, and keeping this smile looking great.
I'll say it hurts to live this way. I don't mind the pain, and I like to feel the shame of it.
I thought I'd leave the best story for last. There is a 4-mile tunnel in the middle of the Nevada desert that cuts straight through Mount Davidson. It came from Adolf Sutro, and the idea was to connect all of the Virginia City mines to this very tunnel. You see, everyone was dying in the mines from scalding hot water, deadly gases, and fire. The idea was to create a place to escape as well as to eject the hot water and deadly gases. The plan was that Sutro would build the tunnel in exchange for royalties of the silver that was pulled from such mines. He convinced Congress to give him over $2 million to create the tunnel.
It did succeed in draining the mines, and was it at a time when the mines were just producing a ton of pure silver ore?
It was, and it was right towards the end, and he knew it was coming to the end, so he quietly sold off his shares and moved over to San Francisco. Adolf Sutro actually owned 11% of San Francisco. If you guys have ever visited the Cliff House there in San Francisco, he bought that. And had to rebuild it a few times, and then he did the Sutro Gardens, the Sutro Baths, which are in ruins now, so you can go check those out. It's pretty cool. He actually became mayor of San Francisco between 1895 and 1897, and then he actually passed away in 1898, just a year later, at the age of 68 years old.
Now, they've only retrofitted 100 feet of the tunnel, and they still have over 3 miles to go. But the cool thing is that you can get married in the tunnel, you can have a party on the property, hell, you can even have a swim in the lake. All you have to do is look it up, give them a call, and check it out.
Well, listen, I'm not gonna do my usual spiel, which is, hey, come on out to this place and check it out because it's cool. No, this episode is get in your car and drive out to Virginia City and check out the Comstock Lode because this place is amazing. And remember who you heard it from. I'm Alex Farnum, and this is Let's Go West. Bye!
And that's a wrap.